Well, as we know from Chile, Deboraugh Rodgers is now out of jail. But what are the facts? What put her in there? Well, I have the PDF of the order, and I'll scroll through it. I'm not sure if I'm going to read it all out or if I'll just go to the pertinent bits. Thanks for watching. Okay, the first bit is preamble and what got us to the jury trial on August the 22nd. As we know, Deboraugh made bond on the misdemeanour charges and had previously hired two different private attorneys. So on August the 22nd, the Cherokee Nation completed its voir dire of the jury, and this is when Deboraugh started to play up. Rather than starting her voir dire, she started to argue the previous motions that had already been ruled on. So the jury was sequestered. Things were explained to Deboraugh, but rather than partake, she left the defendant's table. As you would expect, the judge was having none of this and stopped her leaving the courtroom. At this point, she was given numerous chances to come back to the counsel table so the trial could proceed, and was warned that if she didn't, she would be arrested. She was given various options, from full participation or just sitting quietly at the table, but she refused everything. And that is then when the bond on her original misdemeanour charges was revoked, and after giving her belongings to a friend, she was arrested. As we know, the court appointed her an attorney for the contempt charge, and of course the facts are that she was not being held on the contempt charge, but because her bond had been revoked on the original misdemeanour charges. So the trial for the contempt charge was held on the 6th of October. I'll let the legal precedents scroll through. And of course she was found guilty of the contempt charge. She was sentenced to time served, plus $320 for the jury fees that she wasted. Now, of course, the time served on the contempt charge is minimal. Most of the time that she spent in jail has been because the bond was revoked on the misdemeanour charges. But there are some other documents of interest which I'll add on the end of this video. Firstly, the minute order of the hearing on the 6th of October, which deals with her misdemeanour charges. And you'll see the next court date is October the 18th. You'll note it says the contempt order under advisement and then defendant recognised back to 18th of October at 9 AM. Defendant to be own recognizance released today. So basically the judge reinstated the bond for the misdemeanour charges. Defendant appeared pro se and with standby counsel. Now, of course, it wouldn't be Deboraugh Rodgers unless we had a couple of motions from her. And the first one was a motion to stay proceedings, and that will scroll through. And here we have the judge's response to that motion, and of course it failed, as is usual with Deboraugh Rodgers and Chile de Castro. But never fear, we had another motion, and that was a demand for a jury trial in connection with the contempt charge. I'll let that scroll through. And here is the judge's ruling on that motion, and of course it was denied. Another failure for Deboraugh Rodgers / Chile de Castro. Thanks for watching. And apologies for the background noise. I'll be back in my usual location the middle of next week, so normal service will be resumed.